Attention passionate Washington Commanders fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC East and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Washington Commanders' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Washington Commanders fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with YOUR, FRINDS and Washington Commanders FANS. Let's get to the news now, folks. If you've been following the Washington Commanders, you know that the offseason is always a time full of surprises, strategic moves, and shifts that could define the team's future. And this year, the latest move is nothing short of significant. The Commanders, in a bold step, have released their running back Michael Wiley just as they welcome a new face into the fold, Von Miller. Yes, you heard that right, Von Miller, a linebacker with a Hall of Fame resume, has officially signed with Washington, and with that, the team is making some calculated roster adjustments. But why Wiley? And what does all of this mean for the team's upcoming season? That's what we're about to dive into, so stick around because there's a lot to unpack here. First, let's talk about Michael Wiley. This young man, only 24 years old, joined the Commanders last year after going undrafted out of Arizona. It's always tough for undrafted players to carve out a spot in the NFL, but Wiley's journey was particularly interesting because he spent the entire season on the practice squad. He didn't get a chance to step onto the field in a regular season game, which is often a tough pill to swallow for players looking to make an impact. Still, signing a futures deal after the NFC Championship game shows that the organization saw potential in him, enough to keep him around for another shot. It's a common move for teams to retain young players they believe could develop into valuable assets, but with the signing of Miller, the roster dynamics are shifting. Now, the release of Wiley isn't a reflection of his talent, but rather a strategic decision by the Commanders. The team is clearly aiming to bolster their defense, and adding someone like Von Miller is a statement move. Miller, as many of you know, is a veteran linebacker with multiple Super Bowl rings and a reputation as one of the most disruptive pass rushers in NFL history. His arrival signals that Washington is serious about strengthening their front seven, especially in pass rushing situations where they need to generate more pressure on quarterbacks. It also indicates that the team might be looking to redefine their defensive identity, leaning more on experienced players who can bring leadership and a proven track record. But let's not forget the ripple effects of this move. Releasing Wiley means the team is either confident in their current depth at running back or perhaps making room for another signing or draft pick. The running back position has been a topic of discussion around the league, and it's clear that the Commanders are prioritizing their defense over adding more depth at RB at this moment. Still, Wiley's departure could be an opportunity for another young player to step up during training camp and preseason, or perhaps the team is planning to address that position through the draft. Either way, this move underscores the aggressive approach Washington is taking this offseason. And speaking of defense, the addition of Von Miller is a game changer. Miller's impact cannot be overstated. He's a guy who has consistently been among the top pass rushers in the league, and his presence on the field is expected to elevate the entire defense. For the Commanders, who have been looking to build a more formidable defense to complement their offense, this signing is a statement of intent. It's a signal that they want to compete at the highest level and that they're willing to bring in seasoned veterans to accelerate their progress. The NFC East is no longer a division where Washington can sit back and expect things to happen. Teams like the Eagles and Cowboys are constantly improving, and the Commanders know that to stay competitive, they need to make bold moves. Now, let's take a moment to analyze the implications of this roster shakeup. Releasing Wiley might seem like a small move in the grand scheme of things, but it's part of a broader strategy to optimize the roster. Every player released or signed has a ripple effect on the team's chemistry, depth, and overall performance. The team's coaching staff, led by head coach Ron Rivera, is known for their strategic planning and ability to adapt to the evolving NFL landscape. They're looking to build a versatile, aggressive defense that can pressure opponents and force turnovers, and having a veteran like Miller is a crucial part of that plan. Meanwhile, the offense remains a focal point of the team's future outlook. Quarterback Sam Howell is entering his second season, and there's a lot of excitement about his development. The team has invested in offensive weapons and is hoping that Howell can take a step forward to lead a more dynamic and consistent attack. The balance between offense and defense will be critical this year, and the roster moves suggest that Washington wants to be more balanced, more aggressive, and more prepared to take on the best teams in the league. Now, for the fans, this is a moment of anticipation. The roster is shaping up in a way that could make the Commanders a real dark horse in the NFC. The addition of Von Miller could ignite a pass rush that's been somewhat inconsistent in recent years. Imagine the impact of Miller lining up opposite a solid defensive line, forcing quarterbacks into hurried throws and creating turnovers. That's the kind of defense that can carry a team deep into the playoffs. And on the other side, the team's offensive potential, with Howell at the helm and a stable of talented receivers, could finally come together to produce the kind of scoring threat that keeps opponents on their toes. Going back to Wiley, it's always tough to see a young player go. He's a player with potential, and it's fair to wonder what could have been if he had more opportunities. But the NFL is a business, and roster moves are part of the game. Wiley's release might mean he's heading to another team or perhaps getting a fresh start elsewhere. For the Commanders, it's about making room for a new chapter, one where they aim to be tougher, smarter, and more relentless on defense. And let's not forget the broader context of the NFC East. This division has been one of the most competitive in recent years, with the Eagles reigning supreme and the Cowboys always lurking as a tough opponent. The Giants are also rebuilding, and every move made by Washington is aimed at gaining an edge. The addition of a player like Miller could be the difference maker that elevates the Commanders' defense into one of the top units in the league, giving them a fighting chance to topple division rivals and make a deep playoff run. The journey to the Super Bowl is never easy, but moves like these are what set apart the contenders from the pretenders. The Commanders are clearly aiming to be in that conversation this year. They're investing in their defense, shedding some players who might not fit into their long-term plans, and bringing in veteran leadership to guide the younger guys. It's a bold approach, but one that could pay off if the team's chemistry and execution come together at the right time. So, for all the dedicated fans out there, keep your eyes on the team's training camp and preseason. Watch how the new roster looks on the field, see which young players step up, and how the veterans like Miller influence the locker room. Every move, every play, every game will be a piece of the puzzle that shows whether Washington is truly on the rise or still in the process of rebuilding. The NFC East is a battleground, and the Commanders are making their move to claim their spot at the top. Remember, this is just the beginning. The NFL offseason is a roller coaster, full of surprises, and Washington is clearly not sitting still. They're making strategic moves designed to maximize their chances of success. Whether Wiley finds a new home or not, his departure is just a small chapter in a much larger story of a team hungry for redemption and greatness. And with the addition of Von Miller, the narrative is shaping up to be one of resilience, strategic brilliance, and relentless pursuit of excellence. Now, as we wrap up, I want you to think about where this team is heading. Do you believe that these moves will help Washington finally break through and contend seriously for Super Bowl? Or do you think there are still gaps that need filling? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion truly matters, and I love hearing your take on all things Commanders. And don't forget, I'll be back very soon with more updates, analysis, and all the latest news from around the NFL and, of course, the Washington Commanders. So stay tuned, stay passionate, and let's keep this incredible fan community growing. Thanks for watching, and as always, go Commanders!